Hi, this is Shannon from SIS4teachers.org. Today we're going to be talking about subtracting fractions with my favorite Mathmite friend, Springling. Springling is a character in our Mathmite series that was born with a coily tail, and she has very fancy eyelashes. She likes to hop on an open number line. We've been talking a lot about concrete tools to use with our subtracting of fractions, but you also can use the character using on an open number line. So Springling actually likes to see the distance between two numbers. And so she could also do that in the area of fractions, as well as the way that she could do it with whole numbers, and she also could do it with fractions. If you're unfamiliar with Springling, feel free to visit our website at SIS4teachers.org and check out tutorial videos with Springling using whole numbers, and then bring your children back into this video to sort of see what's happening. So what I'm going to do is try to make an open number line, because ultimately we're asking, if I had a number line and I had fractions on it, what is the distance between these two numbers? So we know in fractions, the first number that we are using is called the minuend, and the second number is called the subtrahend. We're going to put these in order, so we're going to put our subtrahend here and our minuend here. And so I'm going to put down my 1 1/3, and we're trying to find out the distance between 1 and 2/3 all the way up to 2 1/3. So let's see, if I wanted to hop from 2/3, how close am I? And if you need to bring a manipulative out for kids to see, how many thirds am I to get to, let's say, a whole that you might be looking at as a hexagon? I only need one more third to get to 2. So I'm going to go ahead and move my number line up to the 2. I'm going to say hop, Springling, hop, and she's going to hop 1/3 to get her to the number 2. We now know if I go from 2 to 1/3, it's a very easy hop to go just 1/3 more. So 1/3 plus 1/3 is 2/3. So we know the distance between 1 2/3 and 2 1/3 is 2/3. And visually, you can see this more in a pictorial way. Feel free for students that are struggling with this, as we do a lot of the problems with Springling at the beginning on fractions that kids are friendly with. You can always have a concrete tool there for them to go ahead and see that concept. We'll try one more example together to kind of look at this concept before you bring it into your classroom to have students to try it out. But we're going to have 12 1/4 minus 6 1/2. So if I look at the distance between these two, starting off maybe at 6 1/2, and I'm going to have this one go all the way up to 12 1/4, it wants to know the distance. So Springling's really eager to kind of hop to see what those distances are. Again, I'm using really friendly fractions with students at first, so they get the idea of this concept. They can always bring in a concrete tool as they're hopping, but let's look to see if there's a friendly number that I could hop to. I know that I'm at 6 1/2. 7 is really close. It's only a half more to get to 7. Again, if I needed to bring out the tools for kids to see that there's a half and another half is going to bring me out to their whole, that will help. If I wanted to go from 7, maybe keeping it on the whole number, going up to the number 12, I could hop. Springling likes to hop with big peaks, because sometimes as she goes to add the total for how far her coily tail has hopped, she gets confused between a whole number and something that is part of a whole number. And so in the peak, we're going to put our whole number 5, because the distance between 7 and 12 is 5. This way there, I see that that's a whole number. This is part of a whole. Now that she's on the 12, she does not have too far to hop to get herself over to the 12 1/4. If she hops just one more fourth, she'll end up getting there. So some students that understand, quarter, half hour, 45 minutes, they understand the clock, or the quarter hours, they could do this. But as we're adding this together, it's looking at the 5 plus a fourth plus a half. If I have the half and I add the fourth, again, giving them a visual tool that they might be familiar with. Some students might not even need to pull out either this or even the area model paper, but you want to reference back to a tool that, kids are really familiar with. Again, if I were to take this and look at it in the area model paper, I might have my half, and then I have my fourth. It's total to 3/4 of the whole. And so 1/2 plus our 1/4, we know that the total that she's hopping is 5 3/4. But kids could certainly act that out on here, looking at the half plus the 1/4 to figure out whether it's the area model papers, like I said, or using it with the pattern blocks. It will help them to, again, solidify their understanding. It's really great in the guided math group to have these manipulatives and sort of a mini math salad bar that students can grab onto if needed. So I would definitely have my pattern blocks, I'd have my Springling stuff, I might have patty paper, my area model papers, just so that kids can see it in different perspectives. We hope that you'll use this video in your classroom, either as a flipped classroom where the kids can watch this video on Springling, and then either they can create problems and practice together prior to coming to see you in your Math of the Teacher station, or you also can do it as a lesson launch to get students to figure out different ways that they can subtract on an open number line using our character Springling. Thanks so much for joining us. Be sure to check out our website at sis4teachers.org, or you can also visit us on any of our social medias at the same handle, sis4teachers. Thanks so much for joining us.